Welcome to Big B Daily. No frauds allowed.
What is going on? What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Big B Daily Show. This is your man, Big B, Brien Hanley. Thank you guys for tuning in. We are live on TikTok. What's happening, TikTok? And we are live on YouTube. What is going on, YouTube? Got some stuff to cover today, man. We got some stuff to cover today. Fraud of the week. Some big men. Are the big men coming back? Are the big men in the NBA coming back? We got a hire from the Titans. I'm not sure it makes a whole lot of sense. We'll cover some questions. But other than that, let's get into it, man. As always, TikTok, keep tapping the screen, man. We want at least 3,500 likes and at least 30 new follows. So if you're in here and you're not following, give me a follow. We appreciate it. And also, if you are following, boom, tap on the YouTube link in my bio. Come subscribe to Big B Sports Talk over on YouTube, and let's subscribe over there. Join the chat over there. A lot of stuff over on YouTube, on Big B Sports Talk that you don't get on TikTok, man. So let's get it going. So, fraud of the week. The fraud of the week. Now, there's a lot of people that could be fraud of the week. Now, I'm going to let you all decide. Y'all tell me who y'all believe it was the fraud of the week. Now, the one person that I'm going to take out of this conversation is Josh Allen. While I still believe that Josh Allen didn't do enough to win the game, and I'm going to stand on that, he didn't do enough to win the game when they had the opportunity. He's not a fraud. Again, you got to be good and do something to consider yourself, to be a fraud. Josh Allen doesn't qualify for fraud of the week. Now, Tyler Bass, people talking about the kicker. I go, and I'm not protecting Josh Allen. So y'all should know that. Josh Allen, I've said it, he didn't do enough. He didn't do enough. We had basically a whole show yesterday of me telling y'all he didn't do enough to win the game. But Josh Allen is not a fraud. He's not a fraud. So let's keep him out of it. And Brock Purdy, come on, man. What are we doing? Let's be smart about it. Not Brock Purdy. Now, you want to talk about somebody who's a fraud. Somebody mentioned Diggs. Stephon Diggs. Now, that's a fraud. Somebody who's good, who came up small. Stephon Diggs. I can go with that all day long. Ginger Snap, what's going on, man? Josh Allen carried the team. He did. But he still didn't do enough. When they needed him to be great, he wasn't. But he ain't a fraud. He's not a fraud. But Diggs, absolutely. Tyler Bass, absolutely. The Bills as a whole, absolutely. So that's my point. That's my point. Thanks for the gift, Ginger, man. We appreciate it, Ginger Snap. But that is my point entirely. Who is the fraud of the week? Let me go off script a little bit here and see what you guys think about this. The Rooney Rule. The Rooney Rule. Now, let's not dive into whether this race talk and all that kind of nonsense, okay? Because if you do that, I'm probably going to kick you out of here. But the Rooney Rule on who got interviewed during this cycle. Brian Johnson, the offensive coordinator of the Philadelphia Eagles, who just got fired, by the way, he got interviewed for the Titans and the Falcons job. Now, you tell me again that the Rooney Rule isn't nonsense. When you have that guy who was a horrible offensive coordinator, let's throw that out there, a horrible offensive coordinator, and how we know he was horrible is because the offense stunk and he got fired. But yet, he interviews for head coaching jobs? That guy? Come on, man. Look, the spirit of the Rooney Rule is great. I think the spirit of the rule is great. But if that's what it's come down to, of them giving token interviews to somebody who is not going to be an offensive coordinator anywhere in the National Football League next year. He'll be lucky to be a position coach. What are we doing? What are we doing? So Baker is not a fraud. Baker played great. The Baker Mayfield is not. First of all, do we think that Baker Mayfield is great? Do we think he's good? That would be number one. But for what he did, thanks for the gifts, John. We appreciate it, man. I'm not sure that Baker isn't qualified. So, isn't it affirmative action? No, the Rumini rule, I guess, is something like that. It's just, to me, you got to be better. You just got to be better. You can't just be giving token interviews to bad candidates just to say you interviewed a minority. To me, that makes it worse than not hiring a minority. Because nowhere in the world was Brian Johnson getting a job as a head coach. Nobody's doing that. Nobody. But it is what it is. Yeah, Baker Mayfield, come on, man. Baker Mayfield, I don't know why he's not a fraud of the week. Y'all got to keep going, man. What do we think? Jordan Love with the game on the line? I'm not going to let you get away with that. Jordan Love was pretty good. And yeah, that was a bad turnover. Horrible turnover. But I'm not going to say that one play is going to make him a fraud. I think it's got to be Diggs. Why are we saying Brock Purdy? Why would somebody say Brock Purdy? I mean, Brock Purdy, and y'all know as hard as I am on Brock Purdy, he led the game-winning drive to win the game. I mean, what do you want him to do? It's not Brock Purdy. But I'm going to go with Stephon Diggs. I'm going to go with Stephon Diggs. He dropped the bomb that was right in his hands. 3 catches for 21 yards. 8 targets. I'm going to say Diggs. I am going to say Diggs. Got to be Diggs this week, man. Got to be Diggs. So, no, CMC didn't lead them to the game-winning drive. He scored the touchdown, but Brock Purdy made the throws, man. Give the man his credit. Give the man his credit. And again, I'm going to beat up on Purdy. I did beat up on Purdy, but Purdy basically did what I said he wouldn't do or couldn't do, was when there was real game pressure, how does he step up? Well, he led him to victory in the NFC divisional round on the last drive of the game. If you can't give him credit for that, you're not being objective. You're not being objective. Your credibility is shot. You're biased. So, James Richards said the Packers kicker over on YouTube, and he got a point. I mean, the Packers kicker choked. I mean, if you make that, who knows? Who knows? But I'm still going to go with Diggs. Diggs is, in all intensive purposes, before this season, everybody said Diggs was a top 5, top 7 receiver in the National Football League. And he was. Bad year this year. He wants out of Buffalo. Came up small in the playoffs. Fraud of the week, ladies and gentlemen, Stephon Diggs. Stephon Diggs. And for all intents and purposes, I don't even think it's close. I don't think it's close. So, Stephon Diggs. So, we'll see what happens with him in the future. I don't think he's going to be in Buffalo that much longer. I think he wants out. I think Buffalo may even be fed up with him. There's some high-dollar free agents that are going to be on the market. I think Buffalo goes and grabs one of those. A Mike Evans, a T. Higgins, somebody of that nature. I think a T. Higgins with Josh Allen, I think he would look good in Buffalo. Yeah, people. I think T. Higgins going up to Buffalo, I think him and Josh Allen with his skill set, I think that's a good match. Buffalo needs to do whatever they can to try to get Higgins to go. So, but Mike Evans is not a good receiver. If you don't think Mike Evans is a good receiver, you can leave. You can leave because you don't know anything about football. What else has Mike Evans got to do to say that he's a good receiver? What would you want a receiver to do? I mean, 10 years in the league, he's got 1,000 yards every year. He's a go-to receiver. He's a constant deep threat. I mean, what else do you want for him to do? And you're saying his best years might be behind him. And okay, but you're saying that Mike Evans ain't a top 15 receiver in the league right now? If you're saying that, you don't know what you're watching. And you don't have to sign Mike Evans to a 10-year deal. But don't tell me that Mike Evans won't help Buffalo. Gee, many Christmas. What are you talking about? Lord, people will say anything, man. I love you guys. The Goon Squad, I love you. I love you to death. But you will just say anything. You will just say anything. And I don't know if he's staying in Tampa or not, because I think he feels disrespected because they wouldn't pay him. But maybe Tampa was like, we got to see you do it again. Well, then he did it again. And now maybe Tampa's like, okay, we can pay you now. So maybe he will stay in Tampa. Maybe Mike Evans looks at it as, it was business. I'm not going to take it personal. And I love living in Tampa. I want to stay here. He might do that. But somebody may throw the bank at him. And he might say, you know what? I want to go somewhere else. And I will say this. If he has the opportunity to go play with Buffalo and Josh Allen versus staying in Tampa, I think he goes to Buffalo. So I think he goes to Buffalo. But that's just me. That's just me. And again, that's if he has the chance. But you know who else is going to be out there looking for a receiver? The Kansas City Chiefs. Now, you're telling me that he's not going to go, he's going to stay in Tampa versus go play for Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes? Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. He will be in Kansas City in a heartbeat. In a heartbeat. So stop the nonsense. Stop the nonsense. No, the Chiefs are not good. Don't say the Chiefs got rice, we're good. So that's all you need, huh? Okay. Okay. You don't think the Chiefs need another receiver? What? Oh, my God. Jerry Jeudy is going to be lucky to be in the league. First of all, how disappointed are we in Jerry Jeudy? I don't know about y'all. I thought Jerry Jeudy was going to be that guy coming out of college. I was completely wrong. I mean, for what he did at Alabama, we thought Jerry Jeudy was going to be great. Whew. And next thing you know, he can't get open. He's fighting with Steve Smith on the sidelines. I mean, gee, many Christmas. We'll see, though. We'll see. And yeah, you're right. He hadn't had great receivers. Or not receivers. He hadn't had great quarterbacks. You're right. But a lot of that is him. A lot of that is him. So, because the Broncos have been bad. There's no question. But a lot of that is him. I mean, get the all-22 if anybody gets a chance. Watch his route running. It's either he's not trying or he's not any good. It's one of the two. Either he's not trying or he's not any good. So, Ooh, somebody said Jerry Jeudy and Kadarius Toney are the same guy. Yeah, that's about right. That's about right. Tons of potential. Can't put it together on the field. Tons of potential. Can't put it. And here's a good point by my man I. Jimenez. Garrett Wilson has had worse quarterback play than Jerry Jeudy, and yet he's figured it out. So don't tell me that it's just about quarterback play. So don't tell me that it's not, that it's just about quarterback play. So That's all I'm saying. Let's move on. Let's move on, people. Let's move on. So yesterday was the anniversary of Kobe Bryant scoring 81 points. January 22nd, 2004, Kobe threw in 81 against the Raptors. Well, a couple of big guys were basically saying, hold my beer, I'm going after it. Joel Embiid said, let's get busy. He goes out and gets 70. And then Cat goes out and gets 62. Now, one is not as good as the other, where Cat, he had 40 at halftime, but the game got tight, and down the stretch, he went 2 for 10 in the fourth quarter, and they lost after getting 62. I mean, to me, if the 62, don't get me wrong, 62 is 62. In the National Basketball Association, you score 62 points, you're doing something. But your team lost, and they tried, they were going to you, and you couldn't get it done. That's why I think Embiid's is way, way better. He had 59 after 3. They won by 10 going away. He had 70. But Embiid is just better than Cat. I mean, it's period, point blank. So it's just Embiid. Embiid is going on just a scoring tear. A scoring tear. I still think they need another piece to win in the playoffs. What do y'all think? I still think they need somebody else. They got him. They got Maxey. I don't trust Tobias Harris in the playoffs. I know y'all don't either. I know you. We've had that conversation. You and we. This is something we all agree on. Tobias Harris is not to be trusted in the playoffs. Tobias Harris is not to be trusted in the playoffs. So they still need somebody else, I believe, if they're going to make a serious run to beat a Milwaukee, to beat a Boston. They need somebody. They need another role player, somebody that can come in with some energy, get them 12 to 15 points a night, maybe even another shooter. They need something. But it's a good question is, and that's funny, somebody said that Embiid, Cat, and Giannis's brother combined for 162 points last night. Now, see, y'all are being funny now. Y'all are being funny. Stop it. Stop it. But the 76ers choke just like they do. They do. But yeah, we'll see, man. I think the Sixers just need somebody else. They do. They need somebody else. I think they made a great move getting rid of Doc Rivers. I'm not a Doc Rivers fan. I don't think Doc Rivers is a good coach. I don't. I think he lived off that Celtics championship for over a decade. He lived off of that for over a decade. And he's been choking ever since. With good teams, I might add. With good teams. So I think they made it good getting Nurse as their coach, but I think they need more. So we'll see what happens when the trade deadline gets here after the All-Star break. We'll see what happens. So because there's a lot of teams that are trying to win now, and because Philadelphia mess around and get upset in the playoffs by a Pacers, somebody like that. You see, the Pacers are trying to win. So we'll see, man. We'll see. But yeah, Embiid dropping 70. More impressive than Cat. They won the game. Cat, they lose. He struggled down the stretch. Troubling. Not to mention their coach just bashed them. And that's why we don't trust Minnesota. I mean, does anybody trust Minnesota in the playoffs? I mean, let's be honest. Let's be honest. Does anybody think that Minnesota is going to do anything in the playoffs? I know they got the best record in the West, but does anybody trust them? The answer to that is hell no. Hell no. Nobody trusts them. So That's all I'm saying. I don't think, and because they need a lot. They need a lot for the postseason. Let's see, somebody on TikTok said Minnesota is really good. They gave the Nuggets their best fight last year. Did they? I mean, Minnesota, nobody trusts Minnesota in the playoffs, man. I mean, no. I don't trust Minnesota to do anything in the playoffs. They'll be around, and they may give you a good fight, but if Minnesota gets beat in the first round of the playoffs, is anybody going to be surprised? They could have the best record in the West. Will anybody be surprised if they lose in the first round of the playoffs? Because who would it be? Like losing to like possibly a Lakers team or a Golden State, somebody like that. Are we going to be surprised if they get beat by them? Hell no. So, yeah, I saw that the Heat just got Terry Rozier. The Heat are trying to put something together. The Heat are trying to put something together. They needed some more help, some more scoring. And you know the Heat always do their thing. But yeah, man, Minnesota, back to Minnesota. I just don't trust them. I just don't trust them. So, but yeah, they didn't have to give up anything, the Heat. The Heat got Terry Rozier, and they gave up Lowry in a 2027 first-round pick with protections. I mean, if you're the Heat, you do that all day. I mean, if you're the Heat, you do that all day long. Love it. Love it. I'm glad my man Scary Terry got out of Charlotte. That was basketball purgatory. Yeah, Kyle Lowry fell off 2 years ago, and Terry Rozier still got stuff left. He still may have something to prove. He never really even been on a good team other than that one team of the Celtics that Kyrie Irving was on that got hurt, didn't play, and they made it to the conference finals. Then Terry went to go get paid. He got paid by Charlotte, got paid twice, but they sucked. So, you know, it's almost like you never heard from him again because they were never any good. But Terry Rozier still got some basketball in him. He's still got some basketball in him. So somebody's asking about the Thunder. We'll get into that here in a minute in the Q&A. Keep the questions popping, man. We'll get to it. We'll get to it. So let's move on. So the Titans, they make a hire. Brien Callahan, offensive coordinator for the Cincinnati Bengals. Do we like it or do we not like it? Personally, I don't know why you didn't keep Mike Vrabel if you're hiring this guy, other than you just wanted an offensive mind to be your head coach. Because you got a young quarterback. Because what's the point? They loved Vrabel. They played hard for Vrabel. Vrabel knew what he was doing. But because he didn't get along with the general manager, now Vrabel needed to be able to get rid of his offensive coordinator. I think that may have been the problem. He wouldn't make changes that needed to be made. But you tell him, hey, man, this is the general manager. You're going to get along with him. You guys need to get in a room and get it figured out. And Vrabel, the offense stinks. Change it. You got to change coordinators, period. Now, if he wouldn't do it, okay, yeah, he's got to go. And I think that's probably why, but I'm trying to figure it out. I don't know why you would hire him. And somebody said that the Titans are the frauds of the week. Maybe. Maybe. I don't know why you go to Brien Callahan, why you think, especially when the owner came out and said what she said. She came out and said, yeah, we're not going to trade Vrabel because there's some other head coaches that are out there that could be off the market, so we don't want to wait on a trade, so we're going to go ahead and fire him now. This is the guy that you didn't want to trade and wait for? This is him? I mean, if it is, okay. So, we'll see. Jake Browning looked good So they want that for Levi. Are you sure it was Jake Browning or was it Zach or was it Brian Callahan or Zach Taylor? Because Zach Taylor calls the plays in Cincinnati. Let's not kid ourselves. Zach Taylor is the play caller. Has his hands all over that offense in Cincinnati. So I don't want anybody now. Brian Callahan was a quarterback coach, so he worked with him. But I don't want there to be any illusions that Zach Taylor wasn't in charge of that offense, because he was. He was. So, question here, if the Patriots end up moving on from Mac Jones, what are your top 3 candidates for him? I mean, they got options, but as a new coach, Jarrod Macklin, I think he wants a new quarterback. I mean, I wouldn't want to be stuck with that. So I wouldn't want to be stuck with that at all. Not at all. We had an idiot over on YouTube or on TikTok. We had to get rid of him. So I apologize, people. But we got rid of him. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know. But yeah, Callahan to the Titans, I don't agree. It's not that I don't agree. Let me take a step back. It's not that I don't agree. It's just that I wouldn't have got rid of Vrabel to hire him. You know, I wouldn't have gotten rid of Vrabel to hire him. That's all. That's my personal stand on that. I think they took a step back in head coaching, and you know what? They can prove me wrong. They can prove me wrong. So we'll see. We will see. Fraud of the week, your Buffalo Bills. No. We went with Stephon Diggs. The Bills were in the running, but we went with Stephon Diggs for fraud of the week. So, but let's move on, people. Let's move on to the Q&A section. Let's ask some questions, and let's get some things going. So, who do I have NFC, AFC games? 49ers and Ravens. That's who I believe is going to win. 49ers and Ravens. Now, I am rooting for the Detroit Lions to make it to the Super Bowl. I am absolutely rooting for the Detroit Lions to make it to the Super Bowl. But I don't think they're going to. I think the 49ers are better than the Lions. I think the Lions playing on emotion the last couple of weeks at home. They're a good team, don't get me wrong. I don't see how the Lions slow down what San Francisco is going to be putting out there on offense, even with that if Debo doesn't play. I still think they're going to be able to run the football, throw the football. I think they're going to be able to exploit a mediocre Detroit defense. I think they're going to. Now, if they get a couple of interceptions, get a couple of turnovers, the game may be different. So, but other than that, I think that's the case. And we got some more idiots in here. So on TikTok, I apologize. We'll get them out. Don't worry. Yeah, I want the Lions to win, man. I'm rooting for the Lions. I am definitely rooting for the Lions. So, James Richards says, who's a name you see coming to the Texans this offseason? They have a decent amount of money and a big upside. The first thing the Texans got to do is get their offensive line in shape. If the Texans can get some players on that offensive line, you got a young quarterback, that's the first thing they got to do. Fix that offensive line. Once they fix that offensive line, then keep building that defense. I think they like the young core of receivers that they have. I don't think they need to go out and get a receiver unless Tank Dell, unless they tell you that, his leg is really, really bad and he's not going to be the same or something. I think you keep what you got. and you move in that direction. But if they can fix that offensive line, I think they're going to be okay. I think they are going to be okay. So, Patrick Cockrell over on YouTube. He's got this question, TikTok. Let's see what it is. I know you're the president of the Cowboys Hater Club. Yes, I am. I'm not the president. I'm the vice president. I apologize. I'm the vice president. But is there any chance of the Cowboys returning to prominence as long as Jerry Jones is around? It's a good question, Patrick. And here's the thing. The Cowboys are in prominence. The Cowboys are in my mouth, your mouth. They're in everybody's mouth all the time. But are they ever going to win? They don't make enough right decisions to win. They just don't. It's like they got, for instance, they're in this Dak purgatory, and you can't get out of it unless they just let Dak play on the final year of his contract this year and move on. It's like they got themselves stuck a few years ago when they franchised him, paid him all this money with a huge contract, and now they can't get out of it. It's like, bro, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? And maybe the plan is, okay, we'll let Dak play his last year, and then we'll move on. And we got Trey Lance. That's risky because do we even know if Trey Lance can play? I just don't think they do enough and make enough of the right decisions. And Jerry Jones is in charge of all that. I don't think they make enough right decisions for them to be back to prominence, man. I don't. So the answer is no. They're not going to win a Super Bowl title with Jerry Jones around. And if we're being honest with each other, does Jerry Jones really want the Cowboys to win? I know he keeps saying he wants them to win. But as long as we keep talking about them and everybody keeps talking about them, and as long as, they keep winning, people keep going to the stadium, they keep buying Cowboys stuff, they're still the most, the most profitable, the richest franchise. Their net worth is more than any sports franchise in the world. Okay. I mean, I think Jerry Jones is happy with that. And we keep saying, oh, he wants to win another. Hey, Jerry Jones has 3 Super Bowl rings. And while, he may say he wants another one, it's not like Jerry Jones doesn't have one and is doing anything in his power to win one. He's got 3. He's in the Hall of Fame. I mean, I think his legacy, it's not going to be whether they win another Super Bowl. They've already won. It's where he bought the Cowboys. What was it, $180 million that he bought the Cowboys for, and now it's worth close to $9 billion? That's his legacy. So that's his legacy. Yeah, I know a lot of people don't necessarily want to say that or come out and say that, but that's his legacy, people. That is his legacy. We're going to open this thing up here and maybe bring some people in on TikTok if they want to come in. And we'll see. We'll see. So, sounds like a hurt Cowboy fan. Who, me? I'm a hurt Cowboy fan? You need to come back in or maybe just ask if I'm a hurt Cowboy fan. Just ask anybody in here. Is this guy a Cowboy fan? Just ask anybody. I think they'll tell you. They'll tell you. They will absolutely tell you whether I'm a Cowboy fan or not. But it is what it is. It is what it is. What else we got, man? Last question. What are your thoughts on OKC making a playoff push? Now, that is a good question. I think the Oklahoma City Thunder can absolutely make a playoff push. I think they can. The problem is they don't really have a rim protector outside of Chet. So I think you got to have something inside. Something inside. You can't just be all jump shots. It can't just be all jump shots. So, yeah, I don't know. Can't just be all jump shots, I don't think. I think you got to have something inside. Not necessarily, I'm not talking about a pivot or whatever, although I think you can still win that way. But I think you got to have something inside. So we'll see. We will see. We'll see what's going on. But I like the Thunder. I like their unit. I like their youth. They got a superstar on their team that can get you a bucket at any time. I like what they have going on. I like what they have going on. No playoff experience. That's a real thing. That's a real thing in the NBA. So we'll see. We'll see. So we got somebody coming up here. We'll see what happens. What's going on, man?
Just got to work.
What's happening?
Yeah, I just got to work on a rainy day. What's going on with the sports?
Oh, we're talking. You're in here. You wanted to come up. What do you got to say, brother?
Yeah, you're a Steelers fan. I don't know why you say you're a Cowboy fan.
Yeah, no, I've never been a Steelers or a Cowboys fan a day in my life.
What do you think about the rumor saying that NFL is rigged? What do you think about that?
I think it's ridiculous, and people should shut up.
Yeah, me too.
If you think it's rigged, and I've said it before, and I'll say it again, if it's rigged, you need to sell everything that you own and go put all your money on the team that it's rigged for and go become a millionaire.
And then don't win.
Yeah. So if you think it's rigged, that's what you need to do. Otherwise, you need to just shut up.
Yep.
So that's what I think.
Yeah, that's true.
So, all right, man. I appreciate it, brother.
All right.
So, yeah, man. People that talking about the NFL rigged and all this. Oh, it's a script. And if it is, then why aren't you a millionaire? I keep asking people that, and nobody can ever answer that question. Nobody can ever answer that question. Because I know if I had the script, I would be a millionaire. I'd be doing this show every day from the beach. Every day from the beach talking to you guys. Say, hey, man, I got the script. I make money hand over fist every single day. But nobody seems to do that. I don't know. It's weird. So, yeah, I got the Ravens and I got the 49ers winning this weekend. I think they're both going to be good games. They're both going to be good games. If the Chiefs can run the football, they got an opportunity to win. The problem is, you know how hard it is to run the football against the Ravens? And I know the Chiefs, they got two all-pros in Creed Humphrey and Joe Tunney on the inside. Their inside three are the best in the league with Trey Smith. They are. But, I mean, I don't know, man. I don't know. To me, it's hard to run the football against the Ravens. And the Chiefs are going to have to do that to be able to win. And I said it yesterday, and I'll say it again today. If the Chiefs lock up and they put Kyle Hamilton on Kelsey, that's a problem for the Chiefs. Because Kyle Hamilton is that good. Kyle Hamilton is that good. So, questionable calls in the NFL that seem to keep teams in a game. I mean, you can say that. I won't necessarily disagree with that. The officiating the last 5 years has been atrocious. Now, officiating the last 10 to 15 years has been bad, but it seems like the last 5 years, officiating in the National Football League has gotten atrocious. But I have a theory on that. And my theory is that the refs keep getting older and the players are younger. So as refs get older, I mean, your eyesight doesn't get better as you get older. Your hand-eye coordination doesn't get better as you get older. It gets worse. You know, I think they got to make more incentive and more programs for guys in college football that aren't going to play in the National Football League, and start a program. Go to these universities, Division 1, 2, 3, NAIA, and start building in official programs where guys that, hey, do you want to become an official? First of all, you make a good hell of a living being an official in not only college football, but especially pro football. You can make a hell of a living doing it. And I know your dream is to play in the NFL, but that's not going to happen for most of you. Why not be an official? Why not be an official? I think officials get a bad stigma of being an old guy that couldn't play football. Man, so what's the stigma of you not playing in the National Football League? I'm one of those guys. I played college football at the highest level. I didn't play one snap in the NFL. I started for 2 years at Kansas State and didn't play one snap in the NFL. That doesn't mean the stigma for me should be, well, you're a loser football player. I mean, just because you don't play in the NFL doesn't make you a loser. I think there's plenty of guys that could go out and be officials. So, plenty of guys that could go out and be officials. I think they just got to start to market to that better and make it be more attractive. Because if they did, I think it would be better overall for everybody. Get some officials that are in there that are 35 years old. You know, there's nothing wrong with you being a 35-year-old official. Nothing wrong with that at all. I'll tell you what, it's better for me as a fan to see a 35-year-old official. And again, I'm not slamming old people. But again, I want the best. That's why I watch the NFL. I want to see the best. That's why I don't pay attention to the Canadian Football League, and I don't watch the USFL or XFL. I don't watch that. I want to see the best for my entertainment dollar and my entertainment self. That's what I like. Maybe I'm different than some people, but if I want the best, then I want the best officials too. So that's what I believe, man. That's where I'm at with it. We are going to shut this one down for today, people. I appreciate everybody in here. Again, if you're on TikTok, man, please, if you're not following, please give me a follow. We appreciate it. And click on the YouTube link in my bio and come over to YouTube and subscribe, man. Subscribe to Big B Sports Talk. We appreciate it. If you're watching on YouTube and you're not subscribed, please subscribe. We appreciate all of your support. Thank you, guys. Again, Monday through Friday, 9 a.m., Big B Sports Talk, the Big B Daily Show, man. We appreciate you all. Aloha.